The making of an unaware terrorist. An unaware terrorist. A terrorist that is unaware that he or she is being controlled, manipulated, and made into a terrorist. I did a video in the past regarding silent terrorist cells. And I'm going to try to find that video, and I'm going to post it on the bottom. I want you guys to check that out. Also, I'm going to post on the bottom regarding the young man in Oklahoma, the young black male in Oklahoma that decided to behead this female because of the fact that he lost his job. Now, of course, when they do their investigations, they're going to check out their Facebook pages. They're going to check out their YouTube pages. If they got a Twitter account, they're going to check out their Twitter account. They're going to go back into your history and watch the steps you took to get to the point where you are now. They're looking for signs to figure out why you did what you did and who you were linked to. As they went back on this young man's Facebook page, which I'm going to post on the bottom, when they went back in this young man's Facebook page, he had links to quite a few groups or religious ideologies that many young black males are involving themselves into today ignorantly, unaware, okay, because it seems cool to stand on corners and preach and talk about the Edomites and how this country is going to be destroyed and how God's wrath is coming down upon the Edomites, and because of how wicked preachers and the Christian church and the Bible is, it's just wicked, and the Most High is going to send his judgment against black women, and we are against everything. This is what they preach. But the person that ignorantly follows them is unaware that they're like a lamb being led to the slaughter. They have no idea what's happening to them. It's like, for example, certain groups of the Hebrew Israelites that wear those costumes. Now, I would never be caught dead wearing a lot of the outfits that these brothers be wearing. No disrespect to them. If you choose to wear them Parliament Funkadelic type outfits, you can do that. That's on you. Alright? I would never do that. And there's brothers that even said in the past or felt they would never do that. But as they were gradually brainwashed and they hung around that type of environment for a certain period of time, they began to start adapting to their belief system, their dress, their ideologies. And then before you realize the things that they said they wouldn't do, they're now doing it. Now this young man that beheaded this female, he converted. He was confused because he was tied to Islam, and then there was the Hebrew Israelites. He was talking about how the blacks are the original Hebrews and the Hebrew Israelites, the same path that many young black males are taking. And before you realize, he's now beheading someone, something that he probably wouldn't have never done, and it probably just shocked the life out of his family. But I'm sure that there were signs that this young man was being led down the wrong road, but there are so many family members that see the signs that their loved one is going down, and they choose to ignore it. They don't want to see the signs because somewhere in their mind they're convincing themselves it's not going to happen to him. This is a phase. He's going to go through this phase, and then he's going to let it go. But then they start changing their names. They start lashing out against their own family, their own parents. They lash out against society, white folk, and they don't realize that when they stand on this corner and preach hate, or when they teach hate, you are bound to be seen, like say if you happen to be working for a certain corporation, and if you don't care anything about that job, then it shouldn't matter. If you don't care about your employment, it shouldn't matter to you. Do what you feel you need to do. But when you're seen preaching hate against Edomites, against the destruction of this country, and the other hate madness that's in this world, you're bound to be seen, and then before you realize, the company you work for is letting you go. And before you realize it, in time, you're now placed on a terrorist list. You're looked at as a hate group, a terrorist cell. And a lot of these so-called terrorists or ISIS that's now starting to pop up are Americans. Silent terrorist cells. And I spoke about that, and I'm going to post that link on the bottom. You guys check it out. Silent terrorist cell. Now, a lot of these dudes that's committed to this madness had no idea that they were being groomed, conditioned, and trained, brainwashed to do these things. So now you have someone else that's controlling you, and you now became a robot, a martyr for someone that's saving their own life. So while you got this leader saving his life, and he's telling you to become a martyr in a subconscious way, and before you realize it, you become overzealous and gun-ho, and now you're out there committing terrorist acts. And you're on the television. They got your picture up there as a terrorist. Your name is on the terrorist roster because you get ready to travel. Now, this is a no-fly thing for you because of the fact that you're linked to this certain group. So I'm telling you, a lot of brothers and sisters, man, have to be really careful who you link yourself up with. You have to be really careful who you link yourself up with in this day and time. Because any group, man, that preaches so much hate and destruction, I don't really involve myself with that. I separate myself from that. Because that's not righteousness. And if you listen to what a lot of them teach, they don't teach righteous living. They teach black superiority. You're Hebrew Israelite. You're the chosen of the 12th tribe. We're going to even change your name, give you a new name. And we are against the Edomites, but at the same time, those that's teaching you still rely upon the Edomites. They will call the police in a heartbeat. A lot of them will. You still need to go down and buy your clothes from the Edomites. You buy your food from the Edomites. All right, but again, I spoke on that in a previous video, and I'm not going to talk about it now, but this could be served as a warning to a lot of brothers and sisters out there, man. Be careful who you link yourself up with. And some people might even ignorantly come at me and say, oh, you're preaching hate. Or better yet, you're preaching fear. That's a fear tactic. Okay, well, you receive it as a fear tactic and you continue in the path that you're traveling. And let's watch your outcome. See, my mom used to always say coming up, man, a hard head makes a soft behind. And then she would say, don't tell him a thing, let the jaybird peck him. Little signs, little things that my mom used to say coming up, they kind of stick with you, you know. Don't tell him a thing. If you don't want to listen, just let the jaybird peck him, right? So a hard head makes a soft behind. All right? So a lot of y'all have to be careful who you link yourself up with. Because before you realize, you're now brainwashed, controlled, and now putting your life on the line, becoming a martyr for someone that's saving their own life. You don't see them on the front line. See? And when you downtown preaching, and you're talking about the Edomites and how that God is going to destroy them, and before you realize, you become gun-ho and feel that the Most High is calling you to start taking out and beheading people. Now, I think when it comes to the beheading part, man, of what they're showing on TV, I think that some of that stuff could be staged. And one of the questions that came to my mind was, why are these journalists putting themselves in a position to be captured? If you go to Syracuse University, one of the things that they sit down, they tell these students is be careful of the people that live in the city area. They would tell you they would kill you, they would rob you, right? When you travel at nighttime, you know, travel in pairs. Don't go anywhere by yourself. Stay within a certain area, a certain circumference. You know, don't go beyond that, because if you go beyond that, this could happen to you. They warned them. So you would think they would do the same thing for these journalists. But they steady capturing journalists, showing them or alleging that they're being beheaded. But I haven't seen no bodies. I have not heard anything about any funerals for someone that was beheaded. I haven't heard anything about their bodies being shipped back to the United States. I haven't heard any of that stuff. You know, it could have happened. They could have done it silently. They could have had a closed casket. For all we know, I don't know, but I hadn't seen it. Hadn't heard about it. All right, but brothers, sisters, be careful what you link up with, man. Be careful what you link up with, because I hear so much hate, man, being spewed out from the black community. You know, those that call themselves black atheists. You know, Hebrew Israelites. The only thing they teach, man, is hate. Hate against the preachers. Hate against, and this one group was teaching that anybody who goes to church or who believes in Christ or something to that effect, all of them going to hell. You know, and what that does is the young minds that's coming in there, the immature minds that's coming in there hearing that, they're being manipulated and brainwashed into believing that the Hebrew Israelites or whatever other religious group there is the only one that have the truth. You don't listen to nobody else, because we shot down everybody. We shot down the preachers. We shot down the Edomites. We would even shoot down your own parents, because if your father is white, your mom's black, they're going to hell. If your father black, your mom's white, or they're going to make it into paradise. They're okay, because you are what your father is. All right? So, but then you have young people that are saying like, wow, my parents are going to hell. I don't want my mom and my dad to go to hell. That's my parent. You know? But if they stay in that environment, as time go on, they're going to be slowly drawn into that brainwashing mode. And before you realize it, man, everything that you once loved and everybody that once loved you, you are now against them. They're your enemies. You fighting against them. You know? So a lot of y'all be careful, man, what you involve yourself into, man. It's real out there. This is not a joke, man. It's not a game. Be careful what you involve yourself with. You know, any group that's preaching hate, man, you don't need to be with that. You don't need to get with that, because that's not what Christ taught. You know, and you got a lot of people that will come from the Bible and tell you that what everybody else taught you was wrong, and we're the only ones that's got the truth, and we teaching you correctly, you know, and this is the way it is. And before you realize that you're confused, there's first a state of confusion, and after that state of confusion is done and over with, then you become a robot, man. You become in a position to be used by someone and not even be aware that you're being controlled, manipulated, and used. You become the martyr. You're now strapping bombs to your body. You know, you're now beheading people, blowing up buildings because you're thinking that you're doing it for the cause of the Most High. See, thinking you're doing the Most High a service. See, so there's a lot of silent cells sitting down, and they're not foreigners. They're not foreigners. These are Americans that link themselves up with certain groups and feel that this is my new family now. You know, this is what I believe. This is who I am. But is it really who you are? Or who you allow someone to make you to become? See, so I'm going to put the 2 links on the bottom. If I find that video about the terrorist cells, the silent cells, or something like that I made before, I'll put that on the bottom. I'm going to also put a link to that article where that brother, it showed his Facebook postings. And look, go all the way down to the bottom, read everything, and look at the path that this brother was following that led up to what he did. Just look at it and tell me if that does not remind you of somebody you know. Somebody that's personally in your life. Somebody that you know as a friend, you grew up with. You know, It's even in your own family. Just look at what this brother's typing and tell me if that's not familiar to you. But look at the end results. This brother became a murderer in the name of a religion. So, feedback, tell me what you think about this topic. Till next time.